Hi guys, this is going to be the tutorial that's going to show you how to make these V-stitch clusters. You can do this stitch using any size yarn and whatever hook size that yarn recommends. I'm using worsted weight yarn, which is 4 ply for the US, 10 ply for Australia, and I'm using a 5mm hook or a size H hook for the US. The multiples of this stitch is 4 plus 3, and what that means is that you're going to be chaining in multiples of 4, 4, 4, 4 until you reach your desired width. Once you have, chain 3 more, and then you'll be ready to begin row 1. Okay, I just chained in multiples of 4. I got it the width that I want, so now I want to chain 3 more. 1, 2, and 3, and now I'm ready to begin row 1. For row 1, you want to put a single crochet in the second chain from the hook. So count 1, 2, and in the second chain you want to put a single crochet. Then in the very next stitch you want to put another single crochet. Now you want to chain 2, skip 2, 1, 2, and in this third chain over we're going to do a single crochet. Then work another single crochet in your next chain, and we're going to be repeating this pattern over and over again. 2 single crochets, then chain 2, skip 2, 1, 2, and in the third one over you start your next set of 2 single crochets in a row. So we got single crochet, single crochet. So now we're ready again to chain 2, skip 2, 1, 2, and single crochet in the next. Single crochet in the next after that, and we're ready to start our chain 2, skip 2. So just continue that down your whole row, and I'll see you when you get done. Okay, just did 2 single crochets, then I chained 2, and I have 4 chains left. So I'm going to skip those 2 chains like I've been doing, and into this third one over. These last 2 stitches here should perfectly be 2 single crochets. And that is how you end row 1. It's hard to see the holes in there, but that'll change. So for row 2, you're going to want to chain 3. And by the way, row 2 is the beginning of the repeat. So remember where you are in the video now in case you want to back up. So row 2, you'll begin with chaining 3 and turn. Now in this row you're going to be working in only the chain 2 spaces, not the single crochets. So you're going to move over, you're going to skip those first 2 single crochets, and you're going to skip on over to your very first chain 2 space, and you're going to be working clusters. And I'm going to show you how to do the first set of clusters, and this is exactly how you'll be doing your set of clusters throughout the whole project. So you're going to be working with double crochets, so go ahead and yarn over, insert your hook into that chain 2 space, pull up a loop, and then yarn over and only pull through 2 of the loops, leaving the last 2 loops on the hook. Then you want to repeat that 2 more times. So yarn over, go into the chain 2 space, pull up a loop, yarn over, only pull through 2 loops, 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, go into the chain 2 space, pull up a loop, yarn over, only pull through 2 of the loops, leaving 4 loops on your hook. And if you look down here, now you have 3 incomplete double crochets left underneath here. Now to create your cluster, you're going to yarn over and pull through all 4 of those loops. Now still working in the same chain 2 space here. Between the clusters though, because you're going to be making another cluster here, you want to do a chain 2. So chain 2 between these 2 clusters in the same space. Will always have a chain 2 in between them. So you have your first cluster, your chain 2, now you're ready for your second cluster. So again, yarn over, go into that same chain 2 space, pull up a loop, yarn over, only pull through 2 loops on your hook, yarn over, go into the same chain 2 space, pull up a loop, yarn over, only pull through 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, go into the chain 2 space for the final time, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, 4 loops on your hook. Then you want to yarn over and pull through all 4 loops again. And that is how you will complete your clusters in every chain 2 space. Now this is important. Move on over, find your next chain 2 space. Do not chain 1 between each cluster. Just as soon as you pull through this second cluster in this one, then just move right on over to your next chain 2 space and start your next set of clusters. So I'll take you through it again. So yarn over, go into the chain 2 space, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through only 2 loops on your hook. Then you're going to yarn over, go into that same space, pull through only 2 loops, 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, go into the same chain 2 space, pull through only 2 loops, 4 loops on your hook, pull through all 4 loops. And since this is the first cluster of your chain 2 space here, you're going to be chaining 2 because we want a chain 2 space in between each cluster. Then yarn over, go into that same chain 2 space, pull up a loop, pull through only 2 loops, and then repeat that 2 more times. Each cluster will consist of 3 incomplete double crochets here. And you'll know you've got it when you have 4 loops on your hook, so you don't have to count every time. When you have your 4 loops, pull through all 4 loops. And since this is the second cluster and you're moving on to your next chain 2 space, remember you do not chain. You just move on over, just yarn over and go right into the next chain 2 space. And you're going to be repeating this through the whole row. And I will show you after you've done your last cluster in your last chain 2 space here, then I'll show you how to end your row. Okay, I just finished my last cluster set in my last chain 2 space, and without chaining, you just want to find here on the end you have 2 single crochets, one here, one here. You want to skip this first single crochet, and in the last single crochet of the row you want to put a double crochet. So yarn over, find that very last stitch of the row and work a double crochet, and that will end row 2. Okay, for row 3 you want to chain 1 and turn. Now you want to put a single crochet worked in this very first double crochet of the row, and then chain 1. Then we're going to be moving over into that chain 2 space in between our clusters here, and you're going to be putting 2 single crochets worked in that chain 2 space. 1 and 2. This is essentially like row 1, where we're going to be doing 2 single crochets, chain 2, and then 2 single crochets, chain 2, skip 2, chain 2, skip 2. So we just did our 2 single crochets, so now we want to do our chain 2. Then we're going to be moving over to our next chain 2 space and putting 2 single crochets into that chain 2 space. Then chain 2, find your next chain 2 space and put 2 single crochets. It's a super easy row. Then again chain 2, put 2 single crochets in the next chain 2 space between clusters, then chain 2, and repeat this for the row. I'm going to go ahead and get to the end here. I'm putting 2 single crochets into my very last set here. Now I'm left with a single cluster on this side and the chain, was it chain 3 from last row? Anyway, so what you want to do is skip the cluster, and you're going to go ahead in this last chain 4, I believe, chain 3, sorry, it's a chain 3. You want to put, you're going to do 1 chain, and then in the last chain of the row, the beginning of the chain, the top of the chain 3, you want to put a single crochet. So after your last 2 single crochets of the row, chain 1 and put a single crochet in the top of the chain 3. and that will end your row 3. So for row 4, you're going to chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and turn. So for row 4, we're going to be working in this chain 1 space that we just made here at the end. We did the chain 1, then we did the single crochet. In that chain 1 space, you're going to be working one cluster, not a cluster set, which is the 2, but just one single cluster. So go ahead and yarn over, insert your hook into that chain 1 space, pull up a loop, yarn over, only pull through 2, and you're going to repeat that into the same space 2 more times. We're going to create the 3 incomplete double crochets here. We got 4 loops on our hook. You're going to yarn over, pull through all 4 loops. So it's essentially like a half a cluster set, because now you're set up. Now you have your first set of chain 2 here, and you're going to be working full sets of clusters now. So without chaining, you're going to yarn over, go into your first set of chain 2, and you're going to work your first cluster set here. So I did my 3 incompletes. I've got 4 loops on my hook, pull through all 4 loops. Now you want to chain 2, and in the same chain 2 space you will complete your cluster set on this side. 4 loops on your hook, pull through all 4 loops, and now your first cluster set is done. Now you're going to, without chaining, move on over to your next chain 2 space and then do a cluster there, and just continue all the way down your row. And when you get to the end here where you have your chain 2, complete your full cluster there, and then we'll do this last chain 1 and end the row together. Just did the last cluster set of my row. Now I have my chain 1 space and then my single crochet here at the end. So we're going to do just like we did at the beginning when we did our single half a cluster here. We essentially did one half of it here, and now we're going to finish the other half of it here. So you've done your last set. You did your last set here. Now without chaining, you want to find that chain 1 space, and you're going to put a single cluster there. Four loops on my hook, pull through all 4 loops. Then you're going to only chain 1, and in the last stitch of your row, your single crochet here, you're going to want to put a double crochet in that. So yarn over and put a double crochet in the last single crochet of the row, and that will end row 4. Okay, so for round 5, which is going to be the last row of the repeat, then you're going to want to back up the video to row 2 and then follow it through again if you need it. So for row 5, you want to chain 1 and turn. We're going to be putting a single crochet in the very first double crochet of the row and in this chain 1 space after the first single crochet of the row. So those are our 2 first single crochets of the row. Then you're going to chain 2 and skip on over. Find your first complete cluster here, put the chain 2 in the middle, and in this chain 2 space you're going to put 2 single crochets. Then you're going to chain 2, move on over to your next chain 2 in the middle of your clusters, and put 2 single crochets. This is just like what we did for row 2 and what we did for row 3. It's just going to be chain 2, move over to your next chain 2 and put 2 single crochets. Super easy row. I'm going to take you all the way to the end here so I can show you how to end this row. Okay, I just did my last 2 single crochets of the row, and then chain 2, And then your next space that you want to work your final 2 single crochets in is in this chain 4 here at the end. So find it and work 2 single crochets in that space. And that will end your row 5. Now you want to go ahead and back up and repeat rows 2 through 5. So that's it, guys. I really hope that you enjoyed this tutorial. If you did, please don't forget to click like and share this video. It helps me out so much. Also, on my main YouTube page, if you click that little bell button, you'll always be notified whenever I release a new tutorial. Also, if you're wanting to know what kind of hook I'm using, this is a wooden furls hook. And there's also another one I just got recently, which is the Streamline, which is a little longer. I ordered both of them with the extended hook. This is a size 4, and this is a 4mm, and this is a 5mm, which with the size I was using. You can find both those links down below. For this is called the Streamline, and this is just called a wooden furls hook. Also, I have a Facebook group called Crochet for the Masses. I'd really like it if you guys could go over there and share the projects that you make from this channel, or just in general what you're making at the time. We love to see pictures of crochet projects. Find the link down below, and you can get in the group just like that. That's it, guys. Thank you so very much for watching.